Buying this keychain a year before I had even bought this car completely changed my life. I probably wouldn't have believed you a couple years ago, but now I do. I bought this keychain literally almost exactly a year prior to me registering and getting this car on the road. I knew that I wanted one. I didn't really know how I was going to get one, but I knew I needed one. So, of course, Facebook Marketplace, just scrolling and looking and more looking. I finally came upon this one, which of course it was completely bone stock and red at the time. It's a story in itself. Texting this guy for a couple days. It's all the way in New York. I live in Massachusetts. It was a 4-hour drive, just over 4-hour drive. You know, I was working at a grocery store at the time, was texting the guy on my breaks and whatnot. And, you know, I was like, hey, I can pick the car up tomorrow morning. The money cleared. Let's do it. He's like, all right. So we set up a time to meet. As I'm on my way there, I'm 2 hours into the drive. Another 2 hours to go. He texts me and he goes, I have someone here looking at the car right now. Can you bring any more cash? My heart just sank. Dragged my dad into coming along for the ride. We're 2 hours in at this point, so it would have been 4 hours for nothing if he would have just sold the car there. Thankfully, he was a great person and $200 wasn't going to sway him one way or the other. And then he reassured me that he wasn't going to just go ahead and sell it out from under me. And he was going to indeed wait. Go there, pick up the car. I didn't even know how to drive stick. That's a funny story. We'll get into that another time. So I didn't even drive the car when I bought it. The owner drove me around in it, and then I basically picked up stick pretty fast and drove it 4 hours home. It was all highway driving, so it really wasn't anything crazy. I didn't get home until 1:18 in the morning. It was a long day and night, I guess. So you guys are probably wondering if anything was done to this car when I picked it up. And yeah, there was actually a ton done to this car. First of all, engine-wise, I got the Mishimoto radiator and fans, which is perfect because if you know anything about Miatas, the coolant system sucks. Always cracks, always leaks, always just blows up. Underneath my front fender, I have like reinforced structural, like almost like an exoskeleton I have underneath my fender. And then underneath the car, I have a skid plate. I have the Flying Miata frame rails, and it's also on teen coilovers. So I really couldn't complain with what was done to this car. Like, the engine was unmolested, fully maintained, up to date. Interior wise, the whole entire thing was redone, from status bucket seats to a legitimate Nardi wheel to a Bellworks quick release hub, brand new carpet, brand new speakers, Alpine radio, all very tastefully done. Everything matched together. Even like the status bucket seat cushions matched the door cards. Phenomenal job done by the previous owner. Takata harnesses. I mean, really everything was done that needed to get done on the inside. The car had 128,000 miles. Now I have just over 150,000 in just over 4 years. Crazy. I know I told everyone I'm going to keep it stock. I'm going to keep it red. And I like red on Miatas, which I don't even like red at all. I hate the color red. I despise red on any vehicle. Besides Miatas, I think Miatas are, and Ferraris. I guess red has to work on a Ferrari. It had like some pinstripes too, so I wasn't really fond of that, but I told everyone, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna keep it stock. But then, of course, you know, you start meeting people, you start going to places with your car and seeing everything that's out there. Before, you know, I wasn't into cars. I kind of just knew I wanted a Miata. Then I got into cars pretty quickly. The very first thing that I did to this car was buy wheels for it, and that kind of got me hooked. And then from there, I got the hardtop, which it's a pretty funny story. As you guys are aware, Miata hardtops are extremely hard to find. And when you find them, they're like $2, $3, $4 grand. And I didn't want to pay that much for a hardtop. I just really wanted to pay right around that $1,000 to $1,500 range. There was a car that definitely needed work, but it had a hardtop, and the owner was not going to sell the hardtop without selling the car. Smart on him, but the car was $3 grand. So I split the cost with a friend of mine, and he was going to take the car and flip the car, fix it up and flip it. And I just wanted a hardtop. So we just split the cost right down the middle. I took the hardtop, he took the car. And that's how my hardtop became a thing. The car was basically like a barn find. I mean, we pull up to the house, like, oh, where's the car? And he's like, oh, it's back here in the barn. He opens the barn door, the thing's just sitting there. Like, it's almost like, it's not rotting away, but it definitely was not in the greatest shape. But it was a running and driving Miata. It just would have been better if that guy would have put the 4 lug nuts on. There was only 2. But this guy definitely needs to learn to double check his lug nuts. Very early spring of 22, that's when I started really ripping this car apart. You know, I started sanding down and prepping the car for paint. This is paint. Porsche Python green. And how I chose that color is I went through everything. Like I was even thinking of wrapping this car and I just couldn't find a single color I liked. I went through red, I went through orange, yellow, green. Oh, obviously I landed on green. Blues, purples, but I couldn't do purple because I landed on green because I remembered the first time I saw this color. I was at a show at the Aston Martin of Boston and there was a brand new Cayman sitting in this color on the showroom floor. When I saw that Cayman in the showroom, it basically stopped me dead in my tracks. I just asked one of the sales rep and they were like, yeah, it's this color and this year and whatever. So when I remembered that moment, I knew that I had to get my car in that color. We've talked about the paint, talked about the wheels, talked about the hardtop. Let's talk about all the lights on the car. So my headlights, they're just normal Jeep headlights I found on Amazon. I've only seen them on like one or two other Miatas, and that was what I wanted. They type in halo headlight for Miata, buy the first one that pops up. I did not want the first one that popped up. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I just wanted something different. And I just kept looking and looking and looking, and that's how I found my headlights. My front turn signals were different at the time. They were carbon Miatas, normal halos when I finished the car. But now I actually have directionals by a company called Emmett. They're custom, so you can like actually like type in your phone and put like a custom message across them, have them scroll or just have them static. They're actually pretty cool. Side markers, I don't even have them plugged in, but they're just blacked out, just normal side markers, nothing special. My tail lights though, I knew I wanted something different. You can't even buy these taillights anymore. They're from Carbon Miata. They're just a sequential, futuristic looking taillight that I at least really like the look of. You know, you had to throw an exhaust on it. So I threw an ISR catback exhaust on it from the headers all the way back, basically an ISR straight pipe. I want to find something quieter. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments. It's honestly too loud at this point, especially when you're just sitting at like 5,000 RPM on the highway. Then we have all the aero around the car. My front lip, it's just the basic Amazon or eBay front lip, but it has the underneath, so it doesn't, like my first two, destroyed, absolutely destroyed. And then I finally found this lip, and it's got like the curve. If you have a Miata, you'll know what I'm talking about, but it has like the curve that goes backwards on the bottom, so it's like a reinforced bottom part. So hopefully it'll stay structurally sound for longer. Then I have my street aero side skirts, which I love. Unlike the normal Amazon and eBay Miata plastic ones that end up like bacon that go nee 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 nee. These ones are made out of aluminum and like a hard plastic material. I've had them for a few years now and they stay perfectly straight. They're awesome. Super easy to install too. So then of course, to complete the whole entire aero around the car, which I say aero, but it really doesn't do anything because it's a Miata, is my rear diffuser. I love it. Not a lot of people have it. It's by a somewhat small company. I can't pronounce the name, so I'll just throw it up on screen, but it came to me in a bunch of pieces, obviously, and you throw it together and then you slap it on. I love the way it looks. Obviously, I built this car to look how it does. The last thing I did to this car, which should have been the first thing I did to the car, is add the tint. I chose to go with mirror tint. I love the way it looks. I think it looks great contrasting the green instead of just normal black tint. I did have the 20% silver mirror all the way around, which honestly, the windshield was not hard to see out of at all. And even at night, since I have LED headlights, it was fine because it had like a blue haze to it and you could see pretty much clearly. You really didn't notice it. But of course, you know, I got pulled over eventually. I ripped it off and now I have 70% translucent. It's an emerald gold color. I like it. You can see through it inside and out. So hopefully that's gonna last longer than my 20% mirror tint. You know, we got the roof racks up there, which I love the way they look. Someone says that I copied them. Maybe I did, but I love the way they look. Pretty much it. That's everything that's done to my car. So I guess the moral of the story is if you want a Miata like this or any other car that you want to buy the Keychain, motivate yourself a little bit and get to work because that's really the only way you're gonna have any of the cars that you want. So guys, comment down below what car you're gonna buy next. And if you liked this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time I make a video. Some guy said nice car. Yeah. Guys, I should probably turn off my lights before my battery dies here in the middle of nowhere. This is some... And there goes a bus. Don't know who that was, but they just waved to me.